The African savanna allows no room for tolerance. This is a place where order is not established by rules, but by claws, sharp fangs, and relentless pursuits. At opposite ends of the conflict stand two contrasting predators: the lion, striking with the force of a hammer, and the African wild dog, a master of endurance and coordinated attack. One side relies on muscle and power. The other depends on speed and teamwork. There is no peace, only a survival scale that tips toward those who can make use of every patch of grass, every ray of sunlight, and every second of a prey's mistake. Each encounter is a test between two opposing hunting strategies, and with every drop of blood spilled, the savanna resets its fragile balance. The strongest is not the one who kills the fastest, but the one who survives the longest amid constant change. Droughts, floods, shifting herds, and the increasing presence of human footprints. This is not only a story about predators, it is a map of conflict between strategy and instinct, between quick ambush and prolonged chase, between decisive strikes and the slow pressure of persistence. And the savanna is the final arena. The African savanna stretches for thousands of kilometers. It is composed of three main zones: short grass plains, scattered bushland, and seasonal river margins. The sparse vegetation and long lines of sight favor species that rely on speed. At the same time, they create disadvantages for predators that depend on concealment. In the rainy season, grasses grow up to 28 inches tall, especially dense around shallow depressions. This is the period when antelope herds give birth, increasing available prey, but also creating a grass wall that helps lions approach undetected. In contrast, the dry season strips away the green layer, leaving only brown grass under knee height. At this time, wild dogs gain a visibility advantage, shortening their target search and maintaining high speed with less risk of tripping over terrain. Vegetation cover is uneven, sparser toward the center of the grassland and thicker around copia outcrops and acacia bushes. For lions, clusters of shrubs taller than waist height serve as ideal starting points for a 80 to 100 foot sprint. However, these bushes are scattered, meaning ambush success relies on prey being forced to pass by a concealed spot. This is a weakness in the strength-based hunting strategy. Meanwhile, wild dogs require almost no cover. The flat and firm terrain allows them to sustain 31 miles per hour continuously. They take turns leading and exhaust their target over distance, not through bite force. Winds across the savanna often blow steadily. Combined with rising ground heat, they form hot air layers that distort visual images. This phenomenon has little effect on wild dogs. They hunt by speed and gradually narrowing distance. Lions are more disadvantaged. Distorted images make it harder to time a leap over 80 feet, often requiring repeated attempts and raising the risk of failed strikes. The open space between kopjes creates breezy corridors. These become ideal running paths for wild dogs in late afternoon. As temperatures drop slightly, packs can begin a second hunt of the day. Lions improve their chances in early morning, when grass is still moist and footfalls are quieter. Strategic complexity also lies in the density of thorny acacia. Thick acacia zones obstruct lion sprints. Their claws can snag on exposed roots. Wild dogs are shorter and more agile, weaving through tight spaces more easily. But when pushed into dense acacia, they struggle to spread into a wide formation, lowering their efficiency in surrounding prey. Thus, the same landscape feature can shift the advantage for both sides, depending on approach direction. From a broader view, the savanna is not just a backdrop, it is the variable that stands between lions and wild dogs. Tall grass, thick bushes, rare water, flat stretches, and hot winds. All elements grant opportunities while setting limits. The savanna brings both species onto the same geographic board, then uses seasons, water, wind, and grass to reverse their advantages. That is why every lion's lunge and every wild dog's stride is only a temporary answer to a spatial puzzle that never stops changing. The African grasslands are a harsh test for all predators. Water sources are sparse. The terrain is exposed. Antelope and zebra herds remain alert. Within this ecological setting, lions and African wild dogs represent two distinctly different hunting strategies. One relies on explosive power, the other depends on the endurance of the entire pack. A side-by-side observation reveals each species' strengths and constraints. It also clarifies how nature assigns roles across the ecological system. An adult lion carries a body mass of 330 to 400 pounds, with muscle concentrated in the shoulders and chest. A large jaw and curved claws support the ability to immobilize prey with a short lunge. Hunting in groups of 3 to 6, lionesses coordinate their approach angles to cut off escape routes. They reduce the gap to under 100 feet before sprinting at top speeds, around 50 miles per hour for a few seconds. The combination of full-body impact and strong bite force can bring down adult antelope. However, the lion's quick strike strategy depends on terrain with thick vegetation to block prey vision. In open grasslands, their hunting success rate drops to 20 to 30%. If a pounce fails, lactic acid builds up, forcing the group to rest for hours. This lowers hunting frequency and increases the risk of prolonged hunger. Targeting large prey also raises the chance of injury. If an adult lion is wounded, the group's overall efficiency declines sharply. A smaller team must then carry the full hunting load. In contrast to the lion's explosive strength, African wild dogs weigh only 45 to 65 pounds. They have large hearts and lungs relative to body size. This allows them to maintain speeds of 31 to 34 miles per hour over long distances. A pack of 10 to 20 individuals forms a crescent formation. They take turns leading, constantly forcing young antelope or zebra foals to change direction. When the prey tires, the whole pack closes in and finishes the hunt within seconds. They consume the meal rapidly, often in under 20 minutes. By spreading risk across multiple chase phases, their success rate reaches 70 to 80%, the highest among grassland predators. The weakness of wild dogs lies in their smaller size and moderate bite force. They struggle to take down prey over 175 pounds without sufficient numbers. Lions or hyenas often arrive upon hearing flesh, tearing and steal the carcass. The wild dog pack typically abandons their remaining food to avoid conflict. Placing the two strategies side by side shows how nature divides roles. Lions use low energy per hunt, but face high failure risk and need long recovery periods. Wild dogs expend energy continuously but distribute risk and can compensate with the next hunt. On the African savanna, where life is measured by seconds, predator-prey chases are common. But when two top predators, lions and African wild dogs, confront each other, the event surpasses a typical hunt. It becomes a clash of two survival strategies, one relying on power, the other on coordination. In one case, a lioness moves through the grassland with her cubs without support from the pride. Once detected, the wild dogs close in. They do not charge immediately. They form a surrounding formation. Their target is not the adult lioness, but the cub, the weakest in the group. This is a basic principle in wild dog hunting. Strike the most vulnerable. 3 individuals approach from the front. 2 groups flank from the sides to cut off escape. Another group blocks the rear. The lioness must turn around and raise her claws to maintain distance. Because direct access involves injury risk, the wild dogs pause. They observe, then withdraw. It is not a failure. It is a calculated disengagement. The lioness and cub survive. However, the advantage in organization belongs to the pack. African wild dogs do not possess large body mass. An adult weighs only about 55 to 65 pounds and cannot take down large prey like zebras or adult antelopes alone. For this reason, they have developed a highly collective hunting method. Every hunt begins with careful observation of the prey. Not every target is selected. Wild dogs typically choose young antelope, elderly individuals, or those showing signs of injury. Field research has documented that within minutes of observation, they identify the slowest animal in the herd. Interestingly, the decision to initiate a hunt is made using a specific behavior, sneezing. When a key individual emits a sound resembling a soft sneeze, others do the same. Once the number of sneezes reaches a threshold, the entire pack understands consensus has been reached. The hunt begins. During a hunt, wild dogs do not move randomly. The front group includes the fastest individuals, staying closest to the target. Flanking members apply pressure from both sides. A rear group provides backup and can shift roles if the prey changes direction. There is no competition for roles. Each individual coordinates toward the shared objective. When a lead dog tires, another takes its place. As soon as the prey collapses, the entire pack feeds on the spot. Each individual swallows meat rapidly. Later, they may regurgitate food to share with pups or weaker members. This behavior is not rare. But among wild dogs, it occurs frequently and in a structured manner. Such sharing helps maintain uniform physical condition across the pack. Even individuals that did not participate in the hunt receive sustenance. This is one reason wild dogs can form large, cohesive packs and maintain consistent hunting performance across days. In contrast, lions usually avoid prolonged chases. They approach prey by silently creeping through grass cover, then launch a powerful pounce at close range. With large muscle mass and strong bite force, a lion can bring down an adult zebra within seconds. However, if the pounce misses, lions require several hours to recover. They lack the endurance of wild dogs and cannot switch hunters mid-chase. One failed attempt means waiting for the next opportunity, assuming the prey herd has not moved too far. When these two species meet, outcomes depend on numbers and circumstances. If only a single lioness is present, wild dogs may close in, harass, and force withdrawal. If lions are in sufficient numbers, especially with a male present, the wild dogs retreat immediately. The bite force and strike power of a male lion can be lethal in one attack. In many cases, wild dogs do not aim to kill lions. They seek to steal carcasses or access easier targets, such as cubs or leftover meat. Wild dogs excel at coordination, accurate target selection, quick kills, fast consumption, and effective food sharing. Lions dominate in killing force, territorial control, and carcass defense. Each species follows its own path. Together, they establish ecological balance on the savanna. Neither is flawless, but each strategy ensures survival and maintains top status among Africa's hunting hierarchy. In Africa, even after a successful hunt, no predator can be certain of keeping its meal until the end. For African wild dogs, the most frequent threats come from lions and hyenas. These opponents are not superior hunters, but they excel at choosing the right moment to steal. Lions, with their massive size and strong attack force, often approach right after the wild dogs bring down prey. They do not need to chase. They only need to display strength to force the pack to retreat and avoid injury. The presence of a single adult male lion is enough to shift the balance, even if the wild dogs outnumber it many times over. Hyenas pose a different kind of threat. Though lacking the lion's muscle mass, they rely on group behavior and persistence, especially when they hold a numerical advantage. Hyenas usually do not attack head-on. They close in from multiple directions, waiting for the wild dogs to become scattered or slow in defending the carcass. When the dogs are fatigued or disorganized, hyenas can seize the meal through sheer pressure of numbers. However, wild dogs do not always give up their meal. In many cases, especially when the pack is large and well organized, they fight back strongly. When a member is attacked or injured, the pack immediately returns to support it. No individual is abandoned. Unlike lions, which cooperate only for short periods, wild dogs maintain a more stable social structure. A 2023 study in the Okavango Delta showed that well-coordinated wild dog packs had a 25% higher success rate in retaining carcasses compared to less organized ones. This demonstrates that not only in hunting, but also in defending their catch, unity plays a decisive role. Still, wild dogs have a clear weakness: low individual defense capacity. Although agile and fast, they cannot withstand direct attacks from lions or bites from a group of hyenas. Once their formation breaks apart, individual members become vulnerable. As a result, they are entirely dependent on team strategy. If their numbers fall or the pack becomes scattered, survival chances decline rapidly. The conflict between wild dogs and scavengers is not only about food, it is a competition for survival between physical strength and strategic coordination. One side dominates with size and force. The other adapts using discipline and teamwork. Neither holds absolute advantage. Only the side with better organization at the critical moment retains the upper hand. Unlike solitary carnivores, wild dogs must fight for the entire group. Each time they hold on to prey, they sustain the energy of weaker individuals, of pups that cannot yet hunt, and of the entire operational pack. Therefore, loss is not just about missing a meal. It directly affects the survival chain of the whole pack. On the harsh grasslands, where rules are set not by the strongest, but by those who coordinate best, African wild dogs remain one of the few species capable of standing against larger opponents through exceptional organization. Each failed theft by rivals is not just a minor victory, it is proof of a survival strategy honed over thousands of generations. Long-term tracking data show that African wild dogs rarely miss their target. Out of 10 pursuits, 8 end in success. This success rate ensures the pack consistently has meat. In each hunt, they almost exclusively target the old, the young, or the injured. Individuals most likely to fall behind. By removing the weakest links from the breeding pool, the remaining herd avoids excess competition, reduces disease transmission, and maintains a healthy gene pool. This pressure also keeps herbivore herds moving constantly, preventing overgrazing in any single area. It allows vegetation to recover between grazing cycles. After bringing down the prey, the pack feeds quickly and leaves the site. An adult wild dog typically consumes up to about 3.3 pounds of meat per day. What remains, large bones, tough tendons, and hard-to-digest organs, becomes the main meal for scavenger species. Vultures land first due to their wide visual range. They use their beaks to pierce the remaining soft tissue. This process ensures almost no nutrients are wasted. Protein returns to the soil through feces. Minerals from bones nourish microbes. The nutrient cycle closes without the need for human intervention. The indirect impact is also visible in the grass layer. Because of constant hunting pressure, herbivore herds move across wide swaths instead of staying in one spot. Grass patches are given time to rest and regrow after the rains. A satellite-based study in the Serengeti recorded grass density in areas frequently visited by wild dogs to be more than 20% more consistent than in places where wild dogs are absent. This proves their function as a coordinator of grazing, achieved without artificial infrastructure. In summary, the most prominent ecological benefit of wild dogs is their ability to maintain balance across 3 layers. They regulate prey populations, support scavenger systems, and foster grassland recovery, aligned with the order of the food chain. However, this silent management role depends heavily on pack size. Groups with fewer than 7 individuals struggle to surround prey. Their hunting success rate drops by nearly half. As a result, their filtering effect on the prey population weakens. Additionally, wild dogs often lose the best parts of the carcass to lions or hyenas. They must hunt more frequently to meet their dietary needs. This shortens their recovery time. Diseases like canine distemper or rabies can also spread quickly in large packs. These outbreaks can wipe out entire regional populations within just a few dry seasons. These are core vulnerabilities. Success depends on both pack size and uninterrupted territory for free movement. The greatest strength of wild dogs is rapid adaptability. They can hunt multiple times per day. They recover quickly after losing a kill. Their light build, high speed, and strong social structure help them maintain stable hunting efficiency, even under harsh conditions. However, the makeup hunting strategy, hunting again after losing food, is not ideal. Frequent hunting drains their energy quickly. This is especially true in hot, dry weather or when prey is scarce. In unfavorable conditions, this energy loop may lead to full pack exhaustion. In the wild, no strategy is absolute. Each species selects a survival path aligned with its physical traits. The African wild dog and the lion represent two contrasting models. One relies on speed and endurance. The other depends on explosive power. African wild dogs are not large. On average, an individual weighs around 44 to 66 pounds. Their compact size allows agile movement, energy efficiency, and quick directional changes while chasing prey. They can maintain high speeds over several miles. They are among the few predators capable of pursuing prey to exhaustion. Their legs are long and slender. With only 4 toes. This structure reduces drag and optimizes stride efficiency. As a result, they do not need sudden bursts of speed. Instead, they sustain a consistent pace that wears down prey over time. The hunting strategy of wild dogs heavily depends on coordination. They divide into clear roles. lead chasers, flankers, and blockers. When the prey weakens, the pack tightens the circle and attacks simultaneously. Synchronization is critical to success. In contrast, lions use a completely different approach. They are large, muscular, and can weigh up to 440 to 550 pounds. With such mass, lions cannot maintain long pursuits. But they excel at short bursts of acceleration, reaching up to 37 miles per hour over short distances. The lion's greatest strength lies in the initial strike. They often stalk prey from close range before launching a surprise charge. When they make contact, the impact force from their body mass and sharp claws can subdue prey immediately. This strike is brief but highly effective if timed correctly. The mouths and teeth of the two species also reflect their hunting methods. Wild dogs have sharp teeth adapted for rapid tearing of flesh. Their feeding time is short due to constant threats of food theft. Each time they capture prey, the entire pack must eat quickly and retreat before lions or hyenas arrive. Lions do not need to rush. They can secure the carcass and feed slowly. Their powerful bite force and long canines allow them to pierce through thick hide and muscle, including large prey like buffalo or eland. A properly delivered strike often ends the hunt within seconds. Each species has distinct strengths, but both demonstrate precise adaptation to their environment. Wild dogs do not rely on superior strength. They use cooperation as the key. Lions do not pursue prey over long distances. They focus on perfect timing. One side uses patience as a tool. The other bets on precision strikes. Neither species wins outright. The environment determines survival. Both lions and wild dogs continue to play vital roles in the ecosystem. The African savanna was once an ideal habitat for apex predators like lions and African wild dogs. With vast open terrain and abundant antelope and buffalo, both species coexisted and evolved separately. Today, that balance has shifted. As human footprints expand deeper into the wild, lions and wild dogs have lost control over their ranges. For lions, habitat loss means shrinking territory. What used to be a continuous range from the Serengeti to the Okavango Delta is now fragmented. Paved roads, farms, and human settlements have severely reduced available land. Recent statistics show that lions now occupy only about 8% of their historical range, with approximately 20,000 individuals remaining in the wild. African wild dogs face even greater difficulty. Unlike lions, which maintain fixed territories, wild dogs require large areas to hunt in coordinated packs. Fences and roads fragment their range, weakening pack structure. a key factor for successful hunts. Today, only about 6,600 African wild dogs remain across the continent, mostly scattered and unstable. Fragmented habitat causes a cascade of consequences. For lions, increased overlap between prides and smaller areas leads to frequent conflict. Young males may be killed while attempting to form new prides. For wild dogs, the problem is not competition, but survival risk. Each time they cross a boundary in search of new resources, they face traps, guns, or poison, especially when they pass through livestock areas. Lions and African wild dogs also face the threat of disease. African wild dogs are highly susceptible to rabies and canine distemper virus from domestic dogs. These diseases can wipe out an entire pack within weeks. Because wild dogs live in cohesive packs and often lick each other's faces or regurgitate food, viruses spread quickly. Lions are less exposed to domestic dog diseases, but they face threats from parasites and diseases affecting the liver and cardiovascular system. These issues are especially common in high-density populations, such as those in the Serengeti. The most silent yet serious threat is climate change. Africa's savanna, once a land without borders, is now a dividing line between the natural world and human influence. Yet despite pressure from agriculture, infrastructure, and climate, wildlife has not disappeared. Lions and African wild dogs, though severely reduced in number, continue to fulfill their roles in the ecosystem. Every successful hunt, every crossing through fragmented territory is proof that nature has not surrendered. Hope does not come from distant visions, but from specific actions. In Okavango and Serengeti, ecological corridors are being reconnected. These corridors allow lion and wild dog populations to move between previously isolated areas. This effort helps sustain population numbers and preserves genetic diversity. It also reduces inbreeding, which is a major factor in population decline. Several practical initiatives are now in place to reduce conflict between people and large carnivores. In Botswana, farmers use solar-powered lights and reinforced enclosures to prevent lions and wild dogs from approaching livestock. In Zimbabwe, early warning systems help communities avoid unnecessary encounters. These measures, though small, are helping to preserve the last balance of the savanna.